Hi guys, it's Vicky. I am going to go ahead and show you how I do PRF with a cannula. I'm not going to show you the PRF process because I have a whole series posted about that, but I am going to show you, I'm going to fill my under eyes and my tear troughs, and if I have time and enough product left, I'm going to also do my lips. This is the cannula that I'm going to be using. I've showed this also on some posts. So I get these from eBay. It's the cheapest way to get them. And they aren't cheap. They're probably like, I want to say probably $5 or $6 a piece, but you can pay up to $20 a piece for them depending where you buy them. So that's why I do eBay. So anyway, I'm going to get my blood drawn, get my PRF ready, and then I will show you how I use the cannula. This particular one comes with a pilot hole needle as well as the cannula. If you don't have a pilot hole needle that comes with your cannula, then you will want something like this. This is an 18 gauge, 1 inch. Depending on how large your cannula is, like for PLLA threads, like my cog threads that I did, this 18 gauge was not enough. So I ended up having to buy some 16 gauges, which I found out are really hard to buy. So I ended up going to Amazon and looking up, I believe it was body piercing needles. And so the ones that I got, I will show you how to use, or I'll show you them when I do PLLA threads next time. Apparently the 16 gauge, 14 gauge needles like this that are actually, you're able to inject through, must be licensed medical practices only. Will you stop?
I'm trying not to be loud.
That's my kid. I'll wait.
You can just make a cut.
I'm going to. It's all right. Let's see. I don't even have a tourniquet on, and that vein is already popping out. I could probably do this blood draw without a tourniquet, but I want it to keep flowing once it gets in there. I've been really hydrating today, so that's part of why it's looking so good. Got my dressing ready to go here, both to stop the bleeding after I'm done, but also to hold the needle in place while I use these. I'm gonna put this vacutainer holder in my hand and hold the needle in this hand. I stretched it good so it doesn't want to curl up too much when I'm in there. I don't wear gloves because it's me. My hands are meticulously clean and it's my body, but if I were doing it for somebody else, I certainly would. All right, one more swipe. And so I'm going to go in, I don't know if you can see the angle there, but it's about 30 degrees. And then once I'm in, I just level it out. Hope you can see this. There we go. I have a really easy, really superficial vein. So I don't tend to have problems accessing it. If it tries to slow down, a lot of times what I'll do is just sort of adjust the angle of the needle a little bit. Sometimes it might be up against the vein wall or something like that. But this is my go-to guy. It's a gusher. If I hold it in the right position, these things just fill up in seconds. because of this, I'm just one of those lucky people that can kind of do PRF whenever I feel like it. I never have to worry if I'm going to hit my vein or not. And I'm right-handed, so I go at this vein with my left hand. But again, it's just so simple and superficial and big and fat that I don't have to, I mean, even with my non-dominant hand, I'm going to hit it every time. So I understand. I am blessed that way. I know not everybody is that lucky, and I know it. I can imagine it would be super frustrating to get everything set up because this stuff has to go right in the centrifuge. Everything has to be ready to go. Get everything set up, and then, you know, you strike out on getting your vein. I can imagine. All right, I think that's it. So I'm gonna pop my tourniquet off, pop my needle out, put a little pressure there, and get these guys in the centrifuge. And I'm gonna turn it as low as it'll go. Just barely on. I think it's probably about 750 RPMs. I don't know. But I'm gonna set a timer for 4 minutes. I'll be back. All right, so the timer says to check it. It's been 4 minutes. Sometimes I take an extra minute. It just kind of depends on how the product looks. Oh, that's beautiful. Can you see that? So I'm going to keep that. Very nice. It's funny, it's a different color every time. I think it depends on, you know, what my blood composition is. I am quickly alcoholing off these areas that I'm going to use because right as of now I have 17 minutes to get this stuff done. So last time I did PRF, I got an amazing amount. It was like 3 cc's per vial, which is just outrageous. I usually get maybe 2, sometimes 1.5. But last time was just a bountiful harvest. So I am just drawing this off and trying to avoid as much of the red, you know, get close but not draw up the red cells. And that's what this vial looks like. It's a lot more milky looking than usual. I'm not sure why that is, but it's still good stuff. Okay. And it's very, you can see it draws up real easy. It's very watery. It doesn't, it's just like any other blood, you know, it doesn't have a thickness to it yet, but as time passes, it will start to thicken. And eventually it'll form that beautiful clot that we want. But we want it to do that after it's in our body, in our skin. Okay. If I do get blood cell, you know, a lot of red blood cells in some of these, I'll usually use that in my lip area, because what happens when you get those red cells in there is it turns pink, which is fine, but then you're going to get some bruising. Well, it's different than bruising. It looks like, when it shows up, it looks like old bruising, like yellowy. And that's just your body trying to clean those dead red blood cells out of there. So it just kind of looks like you got hurt a week ago, you know, but still not pretty around your eyes. All right, so here's what I've got. Try to get the air out. In my my mind, the air would be conducive to clotting. And so I feel like if it's the less air that's in it, the less clotting we're gonna get in the tube. So I got 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. Where's my beautiful PRF? Okay, so I am going to start with my non-dominant side. I learned the hard way the first time that it's easy to go in over here because I'm right-handed. It's harder to get in over here. So I like to start with the harder side and then move on to the easier side. And I am going to use the same cannula for everything that I do and the same pilot hole needle. I've already disinfected my face. I did that while the centrifuge was running. So I'm going to, hope you can see this. I'm not sure which mirror I want to use. I'm going to use this one. I'm trying to go in kind of at the, where the tail of the eyebrow comes out and the zygomaticus, because that way I can go this way and this way with my cannula. So I kind of start out here a ways. And you can just kind of feel it when it pops through to the correct layer. I did not numb for this. I have numbed in the past, but I really find that I just don't need to. Okay, so you can kind of see where we're going with that, and I'm just stretching that hole out. And then what I'm gonna do is take this cannula and put it onto one of my PRF syringes. Get all the air out. Okay. And this is, since they're all 2.5, it kind of helps me keep track of how much I'm putting in. I don't know if you can see the cannula there. It's hard to see. Yeah. It's got a bevel on it, and that bevel is on the side and then the tip is blunt. So I want to go in, beveled down has been how I've had the best luck, but you just kind of got to get it in there any way you can. So I'm going in at about the same angle as the needle was. You feel it pop through, and then once it pops through, then it'll move real easy. Okay, so the tip is already over here. I'm coming all the way over here. So I'm just gonna go get in there and get superficial. And just kind of maneuver it the best way I can. Sometimes twisting it a little, there it goes, will help it kind of, you know, that bevel will catch on some of the fiber under your skin. It's such a gross feeling, you guys. You can see this, see where it's going though. I want to get all the way up into there. Okay, see where that is? Yay. All right, I'm gonna start injecting, and you'll see it fill up real quick. See that? And I'm just gonna start pulling back as I do that. Kind of squish the PRF around. There is a membrane right here in between, you know, where your eye bags happen. And that's what I'm going to fill up when I get to the tear trough area. But I'm gonna try to see if I can pop through that. Ah, it's so gross. But I got it. And I'm gonna fill some of that on the other side as well. Whew. If you're really, really squeamish, you might want to numb for this. I'm really not. And with PRF, it's actually okay to kind of overfill. Hopefully you can see my syringe and see how much I'm putting in, because this will go down within a day or two. Kind of squish it over that way. And then I am going to kind of back up and redirect a little bit up towards, now the tip is kind of right here, up towards my crow's feet area. And just stick a little in there too. You know, that's the good thing about PRF, is wherever it goes, it's gonna go away pretty quickly. So that's as much as I'm gonna do there. I'm gonna try to kind of squish it around. I've thought about filling my temples this way, but the more I look at my temples, they really haven't gotten super hollow yet. So I have avoided that for now. I have put some threads towards my temples, but PRF, I just really haven't. Okay, so there's one eye, and you can see it's puffy now, and it'll be puffy tomorrow, but in a couple days it'll be flat, and then all the good stuff will be happening. So for this part right here, I am going to go in a little low on my cheek, and then kind of fill out this area so it all kind of evens up. Same thing, just go in. There we go. You can feel when you get through that first layer. And squiggle it around. And then go back in with this guy. Sometimes, oh, there it goes. Sometimes it's just about getting, you know, you're trying to line up with the same hole you made before. And then I'm coming pretty superficial. You can see the tip of the cannula is kind of right about here. And I'm just going to fill. And I try to kind of poke through that that piece of fascia that's right in between, just because I don't want that line of demarcation if I can help it, but it's really tender sometimes, so I don't push it too much. Okay. All right, so that was about just under 2.5 cc's. Most of it was under here, a little bit under here. Okay, so that's that side. All right, so theoretically, this should be my easy side. Yeah, I've said that in the past and then regretted saying it. Okay, pilot needle. Really, guys, the worst thing about this to me is that crunchy sound when it's trying to get through the different layers. Okay, we're in. Ugh, gross. Sometimes it's just a matter of hunting and pecking and finding the spot, a plane that will get you through. Remember, we have muscles up here that ubiquitarius oculi that I think sometimes I think I get right into it, or ouch. And remind me to numb next time, guys. It's a lot of pushing. And that cannula just sometimes feels like it gets caught on everything. The opening of the cannula. There we go. Okay. You can see it moving. Once it gets towards the under eye, you know, towards like the tear duct area over here, it really, there we go, really moves pretty easily. It's just getting to that, past this area, that can be painful. And not just painful, but a pain in the butt. See, now I'm coming over here, trying to get through that little piece of fascia, and I can see that I've put about as much under there as before, so I'm going to back up. And move some of that. Let's see, some came out. That's all right. Okay. So you can see I overfilled. And this is what I always do when I PRF. I overfill. Which to me it's easier to do that with the cannula than with mezzo. And I've gotten better results. Okay, so I'm going to do the same-ish spot here. Okay. Kind of come, so I go in like this, but then I flatten out and kind of make a space. Okay, and let's see here. Because I'm getting this bleeding here, I do sometimes and I don't sometimes, but I may bruise. The big thing is with this, when you get in, you need to come as superficial as you can, because there's really not much point in injecting, you know, way under the muscles. So kind of just fanning out. You can see where the tip of that is right here. And that's that. I'm just going to hold some pressure, because the longer you hold pressure, the less likely you're going to be to bruise. Okay, we're going to do lips.